great. This week has flown by, Candace. So glad to have you here chatting. I could chat longer, but I like to close out this segment every single time with joy. So I'm start open ended. List off some things. What brings you joy in your life?
Ooh, long walks, coffee, just being with myself and not having the feeling of not having any urgency. Like just
Hmm.
that feeling of, because I think I can be so prone to stress of like, oh, this is urgent. But just that feeling of like, nothing is urgent. What do I want to do right now? I'll do that. Just like a very simple lifestyle. I think what brings me joy, being creative, really feeling connected spiritually, which I think when you're not, either when you're working a lot or you're just in the wrong alignment, it's really easy to not feel connected spiritually and for whatever you believe in. And I'm always my best self when I feel spiritually connected. So I think, yeah, there's a whole long list. I remember seeing this one thing where they said to write like every tiny thing that makes you happy and keep it in a drawer. And like whenever you feel sad or blah, 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 or need to pick me up, just pull out the list and see. It's a great question because, yeah, I don't think we often think about like, we can think about what pisses us off, but we're not always thinking about what actually brings us joy. So, yeah, those are a few things.
I love that. And so my second follow-up question to that is how do you protect your joy? How do you protect the things that bring you joy? How do you make sure you get your coffee? You make sure you go on your walks, you make sure you're connected and grounded spiritually.
Boundaries. That is a huge boundaries has changed so much in my life as a recovering people pleaser.
Yes.
Either boundaries with work, like brands, boundaries with people who want access to my time. I think there's just like so much of our happiness doesn't actually lie in what we say yes to, but what we say no to. And I
Oh,
think that's only a lesson you can learn as and when it comes. Usually my boundaries have been overstepped in some way. And then I'm like, ooh, okay, I need to place these. And then I'm happier because of it. And then it just kind of keeps going and going. So I feel like at this point in my life, I have a lot of boundaries set up that really protect my happiness and my peace and my joy and my time. And I don't really know how I could do that if I didn't have boundaries.
that was brilliant. When you said that boundaries often, it's like so much happiness comes from what you say no to, not what you say yes to, is what you
Yeah.
paraphrased. And I think you're right. I think you actually are right on that, that there is because every no is a secret yes, right? Like when you say no to someone, you really are just saying yes to yourself or yes to whatever standard you made or yes to your price or your rate for somebody. But there is so much I cannot tell enough times how much joy is on the other side of a boundary. And we
Mm.
just need to like say that. Like boundaries just equals joy. Like I think that just should be the reframe of boundaries. Like you want to be joyful, set some boundaries. Joy
I
is
agree.
that's it. That's where joy is, right? You don't stop being a people pleaser. Stop letting people start knowing what matters to you so people do not walk all over it, right? Sometimes you just don't even know to set the boundary, but like find the boundary, set that boundary, enforce that boundary. That is the joy work. That on the other side of that, I've never met somebody who had good boundaries who was miserable.
Mm. Yeah, I'm like, I don't think I have either.
I've met the opposite. I've met a lot of miserable people or like whatever you want, or I don't know how to say no to myself even. But I've yet to find someone who's really boundaried, who's like a miserable human being. So,
Mm.
yes, thank you. Such wise words. And I don't want to leave without asking you a couple of like one rapid fire, just quick questions
Okay.
about traveling. So, first
Okay.
thing, which isn't on the list I gave you, but what is your favorite place? Where's your favorite place in London?
Oof. I love village-like neighborhoods in London. So Richmond, which I think just places that I feel like people don't always think of when they think London and Big Ben and
Yes.
da da da. So Richmond is a really lovely neighborhood along the riverside. There's also Greenwich, very historic.
Yeah.
A lot of Bridgerton, if any Bridgerton fans out there, lots are filmed there. I used to live there and they would be filming on the hill. It was really cool. Hampstead as well. So I'd say those are probably my top three neighborhoods. And Hampstead is Hampstead Heath, where C.S. Lewis got his inspiration for Narnia, and it's just this huge beautiful heath that looks like you've entered some like magical movie. And so I think the kind of village like quiet, like you're in a city, you're in London, but it really makes you feel like you've gone to a countryside slash like a storybook setting. So those are my favorite kind of areas to be when I'm not Londoning for work.
Yeah, and the fact that this is just a random weird plug. A lot of celebrities have figured that out because Hampstead on the Heath is where some of them are like, yes, I don't have to deal with nonsense. I'm gonna go
Oh
out
yeah. Oh,
that side
we
of the world
passed Harry Styles' house. We didn't
many
realize.
times.
Yeah, there was a security guard. He was like, "What are you guys doing here?" Like, I live here too at the time.
You're like, I live here, okay? I'm not here to stalk Harry Styles. So that is now. You take a list: Richmond, Hampstead on the Heath, and the third one. Remind me the third one again.
Greenwich.
Greenwich. Greenwich.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Other questions for you. Outside of London, you can't say London, or the U.S. What's your favorite travel destination?
Ooh, I love East Asia. So I took Mandarin in high school and lived in Shanghai for a year. And I also lived in Thailand, so that's Southeast Asia. But yeah, I just went to Japan and I loved that. I think just the food is really good. I find the
Yes.
language just so difficult. And I don't know what that says about me, but I find that really intriguing. Just like, I don't know, just the feeling of speaking Mandarin just feels really cool. Or Japanese when I was in Japan. And I think it's also a very unlikely pair. Like, I don't think now I see, more Black people, Black Americans going to China, going to Japan. But I think there were also destinations that before we would have been like, why would I go there? And I kind of like being the pioneer, at least for my family, because they're not really well traveled. But when I go somewhere, they're like, oh wow, like that's so cool. Can we do a trip now? Like, and I love being that inspiration to them, and hopefully to other Black women in my audience as well, of like, we can go here, we can be here. And Japan and China, I really want to go to Korea. It all
Mhm.
feels like that, of like, yeah, I can be in the middle of Japan by myself, like at a traditional Japanese tea house, and have a great time, like just kind of out there things. So yeah, I think East Asian destinations and Southeast Asia are my favorite.
Yeah, speaking Mandarin is a flex, for sure. Uh, what is the one travel item you can't live without? So when you're traveling, what's one item you have to bring?
Such a content creator answer. My portable charger. I
That's
need my
fair.
phone to be on. I need to be getting that content. So
That
my
makes
portable
sense.
charger is gone. I'm like, we need to figure this out.
What is your favorite local dish from a country you visited?
Oh, I just have to give the first answer that popped in my head, even though it's basic. Pad Thai. There's something about it. I love Asian comfort food, and that is, yeah, I love a good pad
It's
Thai.
good. I agree. Like I did not see myself ever going to Thailand in my life or Eastern Europe for that matter. And I went to both places. And I loved Thailand and I had pad thai like at least one time and I was just like, this is life. This is
Yeah.
life affirming. Like there are other things I liked there too, but that was like one of the things that I was just like, no, I get it. I get that we
Uh-huh.
ruined it other places, but I get it here. Like it's just even better. So
Yeah.
totally makes sense. And then last, is there any one or two places left on your travel bucket list that you haven't got to?
Oh, there's so many. I really, really want to travel to as many different countries as I can in Africa. I've always been told that I look Ethiopian and I love Ethiopian food. So haven't done the DNA test, but I'm like, I need to get myself there. Even though it's not the best place to go right now, but I really want to go to Ghana in December. I'm going to Tanzania. So that will be my first time in Africa this summer. I'm so excited. And I feel like there's obviously two ways that there's, the fun, and there's so much fun to be had there. And I think a lot of misconceptions like that just exist in America about Africa and Africa travel. But I also am just really excited to learn about the history and visit different historical sites there. And yeah, it's not some place you can do obviously in one trip. There's a lot of countries, but that is something that I'm just looking forward to in life. Maybe like one country every 2 years or year or so. Yeah, a lot of Africa travel in my future.
Oh, exciting. And for our listeners in Ghana and Tanzania, shoot Candace a DM giving her all
Yes.
your tips because she will
Let me
be
know.
coming to Africa. Candace, this is a wonderful conversation. Thank you for getting us excited about the potential of living abroad, but more importantly, about the excitement of pivoting and being brave and trying different things and all the benefits that can come from us, from that decision. Where can we find you?
I luckily got all the handles. Candace Abroad. So Candace with an A. So Candace Abroad. Website, CandaceAbroad.com, Instagram, TikTok, all the things, all the things.
And they'll be in our show notes. Candace, thank you for being on Black Girl Burnout. So glad to have you.
Thanks for having me.